Yo, what's up, Meditation Club? What's up? We got another video. This one's deep and this one's a little bit sad because I'm going to talk about society. And newsflash, society's not doing too good. All right. I mean, you could say I'm being a pessimist, but I'm going to read you some facts that will confirm that. And that's the sad part. And I do this because the topic of the video is don't listen to society. Stop listening to society. Like, everything that society tells you to do, if you listen, you're going to regret it. Basically, like everything that society has normalized or said, oh, it's not that bad, or said everybody's doing it, or said that, it's a normal thing. Oh, yeah, well, she's also depressed, that kind of thing. It's all just going to steer you down the wrong path. And every time that you find yourself doing something that's normal, I want you to stop and question it and be like, why am I doing this? Like, just think about how bad this is affecting everyone, whether that be vaping, eating bad food. Yeah, I'll get into it. There's a million things, all right? So everybody needs to think about that some. That's the point of the video, to think about the things that they're doing, ask themselves, is this what society's telling me to do? My bad, I look a little greasy. I was in the sun. You know me, sun gazer, Oliver in the building. Is society telling me to do this? Is society normalizing this? And if it is, I need to stop. How am I going to stop? What can I do to cut down on this? What can I do to do the opposite of what society's doing? So just brainstorming here, I wrote on this piece of paper, not piece of paper, Google Doc, a few problems that are going on in society, and like things are bad. All right. So as the problems go up, so do people seeking solutions, right? So as depression and anxiety go up, so do prescriptions of medications, right? As attention spans decrease, so does people meditating, so does people on Adderall, things like that. So the first one that I want to mention is Big Pharma is prescribing more meds. It's gone up from, I think, 370,000 up to like 450,000 just after the pandemic. And you could say, oh, these people were undiagnosed. Now that the pandemic just gave them time to, seek out help. No, I think it's a lot deeper than that. But Big Pharma is prescribing more medication for psychiatric issues such as anxiety, depression, obviously attention span and focus. All of these things are going straight to the moon. And during the pandemic, I believe it got legalized for like online consultations for psychiatry and prescriptions. So nowadays you can get onto one of these websites, there's a bunch, and just talk to somebody and say, hey, I'm depressed. And they'll mail you some depression, some Lexapro or whatever it may be, to help you with your depression, some SSRIs, and someone that's trying to go out and be into psychiatry, I'll say that I'm uneducated on this and how much it really helps. I know there is a lot of treatment-resistant depression. I know there are different things that work for different people. I know there's some people that take SSRIs and feel great. And there's some people that take them and feel like, hey, how are you? And like completely numb, right? But that's not my point. My point is that these prescriptions are going up and up and up, which means depression, anxiety going up and up. And during COVID, and I talk a lot about COVID, because I feel like that time was like a time of reflection, right? During COVID, people no longer had a job to go to, kids to drive to school, yada, 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 all the little tasks that keep us busy throughout the day, right? And so they just had more time with themselves. And I think that when they were alone with themselves, without all these, tasks that we do every day in their way, they stopped, wanting to get out of bed. They stopped wanting to put the TV down. And the reason ultimately behind that is because they don't have a purpose or a mission that they're chasing in their life. Like if you have a goal, I need to get out of bed because I have to go to class because I have to become a doctor. You get out of bed and you put the TV down because you have to. You have a greater purpose and mission that causes you to do these things. But during COVID, many people realized that aside from everything they're doing every day, there's really nothing that's driving them. And so that's become so normalized in society that you ask people like, what's your purpose? What's your mission? Like, what are you chasing right now? And most people would be like, oh, like I'm just going to work. All right. Loneliness, isolation. And I think the next ones I'm going to mention all can kind of be blamed on social media. Loneliness and isolation going up among men and women, but particularly men. Attention spans are shorter than that of a goldfish. They're worse than ever. You could say, I don't know, video games too, but I think it's got a lot to do with social media and TikTok, the constant scrolling. Oh, this video's, TikTok scrolling while you're watching a movie, while you're eating. Like, no wonder, right? But society's like, LMAO, this is literally me when I'm scrolling TikTok and the movie on, like, it just, like, you see these posts and these things that just talk about it like it's normal. It's not normal, and it's killing us, right? Attention spans are shorter than that of a goldfish, worse than ever. Eating disorders and body dysmorphia are rising rapidly, especially among women. And I hear this all the time when I talk to girls. They're like, oh, like, I'm fat. Oh, I'm, I have, my hips are too curvy. I want to be more flat hipped. Oh, I have hip dips. And sometimes I ask them, like, where are you getting this stuff? Like, where are you hearing this? What's a hip dip? Where do you learn about a hip dip? Social media, right? But society tells us social media is fine. Watch these videos. Look at other girls' hot, fake hot bodies, right? With the plastic and I'm not even going to get into it, right? But those are rapidly on the rise among women. All three of those can be blamed on social media: isolation, attention spans, and eating disorders / body dysmorphia, right? So society tells us social media is cool, spend however much time you want on it. And I ask people, like, yo, like, because I've deleted Instagram. I've been off Instagram for about a year. I just get on there to post and advertise. And before that, I was off longer, but got it back on. The algorithm got me. Society got me. But now I'm free again. And I ask people, like, why don't you delete social media? And they're like, oh, I don't have a problem. And I hear this all the time from people, it's because society tells you that it's not a problem to be on social media, because some people say, oh, I'm just on 30 minutes a day, right? And some people, maybe it really isn't a problem because all they're looking at is, I don't know, Jesus content or motivational content, and they're scrolling nice and slow and everything. But the vast majority of people, if you stop listening to society and start looking at how things are going, you'll be like, damn, this is a problem. I need to get off of this, right? Obviously, our health is getting nuked, okay? Obesity, heart disease, cancer, all booming, right? But, oh, soda, everybody drinks it. Oh, fast food, everybody drinks it. Yeah, I could have a little bit of vegetable oils. Oh, yeah, it's normal. Oh, yeah, you want to go to Cane's? Well, my dad always took me to Cane's growing up, yada, 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 yada. It's like society's telling us this thing is like A-okay, everybody's doing it. Look at how our health is doing, okay? Testosterone, sperm count, and other markers of masculinity, right? So I know one of them is handshake grip. Our handshake grip has gone down, I think, like 30 or 40% since our grandparents, which is crazy. Like, back then, they were real men. They'd be like, hello. And now it's like, hey, how are you? Right? Handshake grip, overall musculature and strength of men, as well as how they do on that thing where they hit the hammer onto the thing. They're all down, right? Because society's like, oh, well, my dad never went to the gym. Oh, well, my buddies and I don't go to the gym. We it's okay. You don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to exercise. You don't need to do hard labor in the sun. That stuff's hard. That's what society's telling us today, right? Reject all that. Get in the sun. Get in the gym. If society's and people around you are telling you this, take a shot every time I say society, are telling you this, don't listen, because look at it. Look at how we're doing, man, right? And then, obviously, the division and the lack of unity among our society is also way up. And social media, again, partially responsible, but also just like it's a normal view in society to believe that racism right now is so high, to believe that the left and the right are so divided and they'll only get more divided. If someone's a liberal or someone's a conservative, we need to stay away from them because we can never get close to them, right? And that's not the answer. And back then it was not the answer. And back then I could say society was better. Obviously not for everybody it was better, all right? But we didn't have these kinds of issues. At least, we're not going to get into that because, narrow road. So obviously the left and the right are divided. The races are divided. Everything's just so divided. And that's just become so normal in society, right? If society's telling you this, stop it. If society's telling you that you're oppressed, or society's telling you this or whatever, stop listening to that, because that's just buying into the division, right? Society also tells you and that getting rich and making money and things are bad. You hear that all the time. Capitalism is bad. People are working for you. It's bad, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And I'm a Christian, right? So I don't believe in getting rich and stacking up your money and saving it under your bed. But, if I got rich, I would never buy a sports car, because I know God would be looking at me. He'd be like, bruh, like, donate that money, bro. Like, what are you doing? So stop listening to society, right? As soon as you get these dumb ideas out of your head, you start getting some money so you can provide for your family and provide for the less fortunate. You know what I mean? That's like part of the reason I want to get rich. Well, not necessarily, I don't really want to be rich, but I just want to be financially free. So I can feed my children, and also so that way if there's a nice waiter who's told me that she's struggling at home or whatever, I can be like, here's a tip, $1,000, pay your rent. You know what I mean? But society tells us that getting all that money is problematic. It does. Obviously, this is the big one. This is like probably even worse problem than social media, but I'll bring it up because we have to talk about it. We're not talking about it enough. Pornography use. This shit is terrible. Okay? 40 million Americans. I read this online. I looked up how many Americans are watching porn. 40 million Americans are regularly visiting porn sites. So that's 40 million different like IP addresses that have logged onto porn sites. Keep in mind the population of the US is 330 million, right? So that's like I don't know, like a ninth of the population regularly visiting pornography sites, right? That's terrible, okay? If you don't know what porn does to your brain, to your perception of woman, to everything else, like, I don't know, bro, you need to go on your computer. And I tell people, like, bro, like, why are you still watching porn? Like, you're old, you know, like, what the heck? Like, when you were young and you were in middle school, people would be like, hey, look at some boobies, you know, and it was all fun and games, but now you're trapped, right? And now these people are still going to be trapped, and they're going to be married and have a wife and kids, and they're still going to be trapped unless they stop now, unless they realize that, hey, all my friends do it, right? All the people I know do it. I see memes about it, right? It's not normal. Stop it. Stop it. Get some help, okay? There's ways to help. There's all kind of resources and things that can help all of these people. Vaping addiction is another one, right? It's like, oh, all my friends vape. Oh, like, oh, pass the Nick. Oh, pass the Nick. Like, oh, you bring your Nick today? Like, it's become so normal in society, right? Everyone's not going to be able to breathe, right? And the more you listen to society, take a shot every time I say society, the more you're messing up. The more you're messing up your health, your mental health, everything. Because everything, as we see, is going way down, right? Attention span going down, body confidence, physical strength and masculinity. Everything's going down. So with all that being said, I want you to look at your beliefs and your principles and what you tell yourself, the story you tell yourself, right? Because we all have a story that we tell ourselves. And whenever someone corrects our story or says like, nah, man, you can do it, we get angry, right? And that's like what Jesus says, before you go and examine the stick in your brother's eye, first remove the log from your own. That it's easy for us to criticize others, but as soon as we're criticized, we get so defensive. And it's facts, right? So take a look at your own beliefs, right? Don't think of me as calling you out or whatever, but your own beliefs why you don't want to get off social media, your own beliefs why you're still addicted to pornography, vaping, any of these vices that our generation's struggling with, et cetera, et cetera. Look at them and first examine the log within your own eye, and realize, do you really need these things? Do you really not have a problem with these things? Are these things really not problematic, right? Is it normal to be on my phone so much? Is it normal, really, not what society says, but is it really normal to be on social media constantly every day? Is it really normal to check the news every single day? To stare at screens as much as we're staring at screens in our generation? Stop and question these things for yourself. And then once you find the answers, I've said this before, everything that you need to do is within you. I guess I'll do a little subtopic here. Subtopic. Everything that you need is within you, okay? You say, I don't know how to make money. We all have a story we tell ourselves, right? Or, I'll explain that statement really quick. A lot of people say like, oh, I was classified as mentally retarded. I was put into the short bus. I was put into this and that and this and that. I can never be smart or educated, right? But as soon as they throw away this whole story and say, I'm tired of telling myself that I'm going to make something of myself, they can accomplish more than they ever dreamed, right? And this happens all the time. I was reading David Goggins' book, who's an ultra marathon runner, and he would always tell himself this story like, oh yeah, I'm not a Navy SEAL because I had an abusive father. I was uneducated. I didn't go to school. I cheated my way through school, and that's why I am here today, where I am. But when he threw away that story, and he was like, screw that, I'm going to make something of myself, he did, right? So taking a look at your own story and what's going on within yourself. So, yeah. So the subtopic, story you tell yourself. Yeah, so stop telling yourself these stories about yourself, all right? And what was I saying? Oh yeah, the answers are within you. Sorry. It's because I don't edit my videos. If I edited them, I could cut out 30 seconds. The story that we tell ourselves often leads to us, having some kind of reasons why we can't chase this certain goal or certain dream. So put a gun to your head in a hypothetical sense. Obviously, don't actually put a gun to your head and say, if your story is I can't make money, if your story is I can't pass this class. Imagine that your mom is like, in the hospital, and in order for your mother to live, you need to make $2,000. I bet you can find a way to make $2,000. I bet you, right? Imagine that it's like a life or death situation, and you will come up with the plan necessary and the means and the will necessary to figure out what you need to do, right? Actually doing it, that's willpower, motivation, and discipline. But figuring out what you need to do, that's within you, right? So you just have to put yourself in that, like, figure it out now situation, Like, let's say that you're broke, right? And now put yourself in that situation. If I don't make $1,000 by the end of this month, my mom's dead, right? You're going to get out a pen and paper, and you're going to write out, okay, here's what I need to do. Uber Eats, these hours, this, that, that's that. You're going to figure it out, okay? Same thing, how am I going to quit social media? How am I going to quit watching pornography, vaping, exercise more, things like that, right? The plan is already within you. Put yourself in that life or death situation, because as we're seeing suicide rates are rising, sometimes it really is a life or death situation if you continue down the path of listening to society, right? Kind of a dark video, dark thing to think about, just how bad things really are in society. But things are not that bad. There's beautiful things in every single person, People are great. The random person sitting in your class you've never talked to, they got a whole story. Learn it. It's probably beautiful. All right. Fit check, guys. Fit check. Look, legs coming in, guys. I'm telling you, man. I'm not skipping leg day anymore because I'm doing that which I don't want to do. All right. God bless everybody.